Hey yo web traveler! Let's talk about Gada's story. And I don't only mean the original waifu cards, but also as a general phenomenon that is now found on AliExpress. Let me get one thing right out of the way. This is Gada's story, and this is not. But tcgcomrade, if I search Gada's story on AliExpress, these sets are also coming up. I know. Confusing, isn't it? So let me explain, cause otherwise, what's the point of this video? Gada's Story is an unlicensed collectible card game that features official and fan art of anime and video game characters. It is made in China and the only way to buy it right now is from AliExpress or resellers. After a while, Gada's Story blew up. Well, to be honest, it was more like this. Nonetheless, other companies saw that and tributed to the waifu economy by making its own sets. However, they faced one little problem. Who would search for Girl Domain or Sacred Garden while people are interested in Gada's Story? I think the rest is self-explanatory.
Borrow the name only in search terms to be found, however every set has its own name written on the product.
Bruh. How do I know which boxes are real Gada's Story then? Well, you need to trust your inner waifu hunter, young Padawan. This is Little Frog's logo. They made Gada's Story and have its logo displayed on every set box and a pack. This is the general style of the cards, which also indicates the product. I can't say for sure if there are any true fakes on the market right now, but I believe so far we are good. Except for these two. They're bootleg apparently, but I don't know how and why. The source is just trust me, bro. And look at this graph. The legend who made it, thank you so much for your work. It is very much appreciated. Here you can see for yourself which sets are Gada's Story and which are not. And we will talk about the rest in a bit, but first let me guide you through the true Gada's Story. Gada's Story has different kind of sets. 1, 2, 5 and 10. 1. This indicates the price of a pack and correspondingly epicness of cards inside. In packs of 1 booster box, you would have a few error cards, that being the lowest rarity, and a shiny SR card. But that's not the highest rarity you can get. That will be an SSR. You have 6 slots guaranteed in 1 box, and SSR would come in place of SR card. 2-1 is almost the same as 1, only difference being that you can get PTR card, which stands above SSR as a rarity. 5-1 box has a better and more hits and has guaranteed SSR in each pack or a rarity above SSR in place of it. You have 2 hits guaranteed in 5-1 set. 10-1 has these crazy see-through cards and has the same characteristics of 5-1 set. The difference is that 10-1 has more rarities above SSR and has 3 hits guaranteed. I will dive into all the rarities just a bit, but for now let's continue with general information. Here you can see what type 1 box it is and how many packs it contains. There you can see the set number and how much yuan that it is. For example, if it is NS204, it means this is the 4th 2-in-1 box that came out, and you can see the set number on the cards as well. If you're interested in full lists of sets or what they have to offer, I recommend you check out Gada's Story website. Link will be in the description. There's also a subreddit where you can ask your questions or find some valuable information, and a Discord group. Now back to the graph. All this has come out in little less than 1 year. Every month we get a few new sets and often new names under the Gada's Story. There's so much to hunt for, so choose wisely. I personally think that at the moment the best rival of Gada's Story is Maiden Party. They already have a few sets and also they have a very interesting plot to them, as you can see. And there's also Anime Beauties. They have similar quality to Gada's Story, which is not that common, and enough hits to offer in a box. But I still think that Gada's Story has the best execution out of them so far. By the way, there are sets which are not in this graph because this is waifu specific. There's almost an ocean of anime cards on AliExpress, but that's for another time. Now, where do you buy Gada's Story cards? There are a lot of sellers on AliExpress who is selling it right now, so it can be real overwhelming. I have a few trustworthy sellers that I personally buy from. I'll leave the links in the video description. Check them out if you're interested in buying some. Now get your oxygen masks, cause we are diving into the waifu rarities. This time only of Gada's Story. R. Simple and most common rarity in Gada's Story, has some triangle shine to it, really nothing special, just fine for its price. SR. This is in my opinion where God the Story already sets itself apart from other TCGs. It's nothing crazy, but it's still good. You see all the color popping off, the background is texturized, and each card has its own texture pattern, so it hits differently every time. And most important of all, you're guaranteed to have one SR in each pack, so you'll always leave with a shiny hit. SSR is an upgrade to SR. Duh, it still has characteristics that SR has, but a golden outlining and details are added. And there are small differences between the sets. Some have more small detail around the character, some have only the outlining, some have both, and some could have names written on it, like the name stamp. And some can even have a shiny dots in the golden areas. PR is a twin brother of an SSR really. However, PR has its own set for each box and can only be obtained if you buy PR cards, promo cards, loose, or use a node tcgcomrade by certain sellers. For more info, look into the video description. PTR is a weird child in the family. It has the most different designs between all the sets. Like it just hit its puberty and it doesn't know what it wants to be, even though it stays the same rarity. In 2-in-1 boxes you have a chance that 1 of 6 SSR would be PTR, but it's not guaranteed, so you could end up with only 6 SSR. However, in other boxes you are more likely to get an PTR, that being 5-in-1 and 10-in-1 boxes. In more older sets, you'll see that PTR has a lot of layers in the background. But the newest generation became something different. It is a copy-paste of the same character, which I'm not a fan of, but will have even more rarities ahead of us, so I understand that they would kinda downgrade this rarity. However, I see that they're still figuring it out, because in the newest set, PTR got rainbow colors, but with the same design, so I think it is possible that they would tweak PTR in the future sets also. MR, beautiful child of the family. It is kinda looking like an upgrade to old PTR design, but I'm not judging, it looks great. Character upfront, different layers, features in the back, but then again, you can see that some MR rarities have a slightly different style depending on which set you look into. ZR is more simplistic style of cards. It can only be found in 5-in-1 boxes and it is often the highest rarity you can get there. It is believed that you have a chance to get one in each 4 or 5 boxes. FR is a 10-in-1 exclusive. It is a see-through card with some golden elements like an SSR has, an odd child in the family, but it has its own appeal. XR, like goddamn, just look at that. Currently on the markets it is slightly above $100 for this card. And it's not crazy because you can get only one in 16 boxes. You can find them in 5-in-1 online box version. Yes, you have an offline box version of this set. I don't know the difference yet between them, except for XR is only included in the online box version. SP are exclusive to 10-in-1 boxes. They have alternate artwork on the back of the card, and when you get all 9 SP cards, they will form a complete image. Each 10-in-1 box has its own different set of SP. BW or E is a 3-fold card. I found it really interesting design, but also a good execution. It comes in NS10M03, but also in previous 10-in-1 set, that being NS10M02, but it wasn't called BW yet, even though there are also 3-fold cards. NTR can only be found in NS10M01, and this rarity shows us jealousy of a character in the background. The next two rarities have different names, but also do the kinda same thing for 10-in-1 boxes. BGL, which stands for Boy Girl Love, can only be found in NS10M02. Love is in the air, and that's the theme of this rarity. You see the colors in the background of happy partners. DSR, which is found currently in the latest 10-in-1 set, NS10M03, replaces other two rarities, showing us emotional damage of a character in the background. Weeb Investments, thank you so much for providing web travelers with the footage of awesome rarities. Don't forget to check his channel out after watching this video. Link obviously will be down below. Those are all current rarities, but I have no doubt there will be more. And now we can get our heads to a second market where people are selling and buying these cards. Well, simply there's no clear pricing for these, but these are some variables which influence a price for a card. I'm not smart enough to tell you how this works, but I'm gonna try it as far as my understanding goes. Supply and demand is the most important thing pricing those cards. Supply translates in different rarities. Obviously, the harder to get, the higher the price. But if the characters on this card is not popular, there are way less people who will consider buying it for a high price. So this is our demand, how popular the character is. So I'm gonna list some variables which influence this market, at least that I can think of, in no particular order. The rarity, or how hard is it to get this card. Character or anime, how popular they are. Are there alternatives? For example, you can have Marnie from Pokemon in official Pokemon TCG, or some animes have official TCGs, which means people will think twice before buying the same characters from Gather Story. Supply, how much of the same card is on the market right now. Awareness of a buyer. For example, our cards, the lowest rarity, are not worth much because you can get a lot of them. But if you have somebody who doesn't know Gather Story or doesn't want to buy packs or boxes and only wants like 1 or 2 characters, they will and can pay you more for an R card. Country. I mean, maybe I can get the card I want for $1, but the shipping is $25. So I filter by country where I'm at and I see the same card for $3.50 with, for example, $1.50 shipping cost. I'd rather buy it for $1, but because of the shipping costs, I'm gonna pay more for a card essentially, which kinda can dictate the wrong price for the card. But essentially, people are just coming up with prices and other people decide if it's worth buying or not. I have researched a little bit into different rarities that were sold on eBay. And as I said, prices are just a mess. If you're interested in the results, let me know in the comments and I might do a separate video on that. Well, I think that concludes my guide on Gather Story. What's that? You have more questions? Well, okay then. No, you can't play this even though you have some stats and whatnot. There are no rules or anything on how you would play that, so it's just a no. Yes. I had the same observation. You can get the cards of previous sets in a new set. I don't know for sure, but for me it looks like they're doing it just to fill up the box. So far, the highest rarity will always be original to the set, but the lowest rarities could have only a few new cards, if any, which would mean they fill it up with cards from previous sets, to get it faster on the market. I really don't know what PTR stands for. Some of the rarities have an explanation for its name, like PR stands for promo card or promo rare, but MR, for example, like mega rare, moist rare, it can be anything you want it to be. Oh, that's an interesting question. Pull rates are not officially announced, but thanks to one legend on Reddit, we have some indication as to what to expect. It is also really depends on which one box you buy. Here, take a look, and thank you TotalSun998 for your contribution to the Waifu Hunter community. It really depends on personal preference which set is the best, but you can watch my tier list video where I look deeper into that. So I hope I answered most or even better all of your questions that you had about Gather Story. Go to the video description for all the links and the info, you won't be disappointed. I also want to give a special thank you to Reno for letting me use his amazing lo-fi remixes. If you are a lo-fi enjoyer, please give him some love, because he's definitely worth your time. Links will be in the description. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed that video or had the valuable information given, please like and comment, and if you want to see more, subscribe to the channel. Web travelers, I will see you in another one.